Dragonshire.
Having our mic out of there we go, and welcome back to the stream. We've got another matchup at our hands right away. On the left hand side we have Alaska, and on the right we have Better Than Yesterday. Let's get going into this matchup here. This is I believe this is like the last week of play for NGS. I think it's playoffs after this if I'm not mistaken, so these games are about to be good. I like these. And first, hover onto ETC. Not a bad idea. We can talk about him, but the other thing that we need to consider here is also Dahaka here. There is a, in my eyes, I put a heavy prioritization onto Dahaka on this map, mostly because of the fact that I think that he's really, really good in that top lane solo lane. We have had Alaska in the past playing the Zagara here, so that is a possibility, but either way, I mean, we do have a ETC ban coming out right away, so then the other question is, what are we going to be seeing from Better Than Yesterday? Dragonshire. I'm trying to think, like, do they go for a ban like map-wise? Do they like limit the global at this point? Taking out, you can take out Brightwing, you can take out Dahaka, or did they just go for something more specific? Do they just try and narrow down those healer pools? They get rid of the Rhaegar, they get rid of the Stukov, things like that. Nope, they're going to go ahead and get rid of the Malthael. It's something they do not want to deal with in this matchup here, and I mean, in a double support comp, as we've been watching in HGC all day today, which, no spoilers, just too excited. Once we're going to be, once we're done with this, I am going to go just cuddle up with my puppy on the couch and catch up on what I missed. And I missed a few games, so I'm excited. Either way, this first pick Murden is interesting. Murden getting that rework recently. That's interesting. I'm glad that he's first pick material again, but are we going to be seeing something different? Last night when I was casting for Heroes Hype, I was a little bit surprised by the Murden that I saw in that game. I mean, granted, I believe it was Battlefield of Eternity, and he was a haymaker. It was crazy to watch and absolutely enjoyable too. Either way though, on the side of Better Than Yesterday, looks like they go into the Nubrak and the Dahaka, so they go ahead and they pick up the dive as well as just something to go for that solo in top lane. I like that. I really like the start of the draft. Now, granted, at the same time, when we go into the next ban phase, look to see Alaska trying to force probably some bans onto healers. That's probably going to be the priority after this next ban phase. But either way, what are we going to be getting from Alaska? They could go into a Brightwing here. That would give them a global threat, as well as Greymane wouldn't be a bad idea. I honestly...
Grant us strength.
Alright. Okay. Alright. Jaina with a Malfurion. Now, Malfurion, I wouldn't say he's fallen off, but he's just not that big of a priority just because there's other healers that you kind of choose over him. But when you pick up mages, you can get some cooldown reductions as well as some mana buff. That's something that's nice to have the Malfurion for, as well as just the silence. It kind of mitigates any sort of, if they do dive in the later game and you go for that tranquility, it is not tranquility. Oh, brain fart. I can't think of the name. The giant silence. I don't know why it's just completely leaving my mind. Either way, but if you get that, it kind of, if people dive in, it's going to Twilight Dream. It's going to, like, just mitigate a lot of that dive if they do go in for it, because if they get in there, they don't have any abilities to use. It's just basic attacks, and that can be turned around quite quickly, especially with the damage that can come out from Jaina, the rooting from Malfurion. So I'm quite interested to see the rest of the draft from Alaska. We had a ban onto Greymane, and I mean, Greymane's great in the solo lane. He's great for lane clear. He's great on the shrine. But the other thing he's great against, and I've been saying it all night, but that's just because I want it, it is going to be the fact that I really want a Cho'Gall.
The lights of
Ashalanore.
We have a Uther with a Kael'thas.
The swarm endures.
What? I see, the thing is, I can see chat, and I'm not seeing like no misclick. Like, that's legit.
I heed the voice of Elune.
What? Why? What is this? This is a quick match comp. Like, what are you doing? I can't handle this. I legitimately can't handle this. Now, here's the thing that I want to note really quick. They picked up that Tyrande, but realistically with that Murky, I kind of wish they taken a second, just been like Zeratul or Tracer. Like, I don't know how I feel about this, but this is about to be just such a good game. Oh my god, I'm absolutely excited about this. Mostly, I don't think I've ever casted a Murky. I honestly don't think I've ever casted a Murky ever, realistically. I can't remember. The holy crap. Okay. Okay. That's just... So let's talk about laning matchups if we can. I would assume the Zagara is going to be in the solo lane up against Dahaka. They'll put their Kael'thas, Uther, Tyrande into bottom. No, maybe Kael'thas and Tyrande, or excuse me, Kael'thas, Uther in bottom. Then maybe the Anub'arak and Tyrande into the mid. Murky's just gonna be. I don't know. But either way, let's get into this matchup. On the left-hand side, we are going to have Alaska with Sierras on that Zagara, Varen on the Malfurion, Bubble this on that Muradin. Rexpa will be on the Jaina here, and Hedgie will be on that Murky. Now, on the right-hand side, we are going to have Better Than Yesterday with
Battle
Ghost Dunk
commencing
on
in
the Dahaka.
10
Masterfish
seconds.
is going to play the Anub'arak. Ark will play that Kael'thas.
5,
Shershan Sheep will
4,
play the Uther,
3,
and Morad
2,
will go on
1.
the Tyrande.
Let the battle begin.
All right, looks like we actually have Bribe from Murky, Iceland's build for the Jaina, Banelings from the Zagara, and it looks like the Shandow's Clarity from the Malfurion. Now, on the side, we actually have the Lunar Blaze build from the Tyrande. We have Uther going into Lightbringer? Silver Touch, excuse me. At level 1, Dahaka going in for the buff on his Brush Stock and Speed. We do have Kael'thas going for that Mana Addict, and we do have Zachary on the CS. Looks like he will be getting out with 23 health. So the early game pick just barely not connecting. It looks like the Geo Hedgie currently taking on Masterfish. It's a little ironic, actually. But we do have Bubble this, just currently delaying them as they're making this rotation into the bottom lane. Rex was going to go ahead and get that Ice Lance out. As well as Varen will be down there with him, just getting that mana reduction as well as this. Excuse me, cooldown reduction as well as mana. Now, the one thing that we're going to note here is we actually have Hedgie going up against Marad in this mid lane, and in top we have Sears going up against Glowstone. So, either way, we actually have a little bit of a rotation happening from a couple of the members of Better Than Yesterday, actually, but they're going to go ahead and still leave that Uther down to that bottom lane. And realistically, Varen will hold this over. Bubble this is going to jump towards his team, going to be able to just get out safe. The stun will not be connecting. Shershan Sheep will go ahead and grab this altar at bottom. Looks like they will be holding over both. At this point, though, we do have Hedgie currently just posturing up to make sure he gets the delay. It looks like Bubbleless will go ahead and jump on to that point. Try and delay us a little bit. Now in top lane, Sierras is trying to push up against Ghost Dunk here, and it looks like he's doing a pretty decent job of spraying that creep, and Ghost Dunk's making sure it's really not getting too out of hand. They're doing a good job both. I mean, realistically, he's just making sure that he's just knocking that back. But at the same time, we do have Bubbleless once again taking quite a bit of damage. He's going to go ahead and just leap right out of there, getting out just fine. We do have another Ice Lance going out from Rexta there onto Masterfish. Meanwhile, though, really quickly in mid, we have Hedgie walking in circles, waiting for Arc to just try and jump on him. At this point, they do cancel out the bottom. Excuse me, they cancel out the top and the bottom. We currently have a lot of damage going on with a few of the members here. Looks like there will be the block onto Shishan Sheep. Whoa, might be able to get out. It will be fine. Not enough damage to follow up there, but it looks like in mid we currently have Murky postured up for this. Kael'thas will actually be going back towards the gate, and I don't think he'll be able to get here in time for the delay, and he will pick it up. Instead of doing the auto, unfortunately, he does not get the delay there, so they go ahead and they're going to put their Murky into that Dragonite, walking it into mid lane, while the rest of the team in bottom lane is going to open up this gate, really just try and open up this map. The more you open this up for your team, it becomes just so hard for the enemy to get away from you. Just any sort of disengage just becomes just this long run. Looks like the kick will be baited over the wall, basically. Let's check back into bottom really quickly. It looks like we have quite a good pushback coming out from the Shishan Sheep as well as Masterfish. They're trying to actually get a bunch of damage onto him. Looks like he will be able to get away from it, but I mean, just showing the initial burst that's coming out of these three members in this bottom lane, it's a little terrifying. We do have a kick there onto the Tyrande here. It looks like mid lane will be opened up a little bit. This Murky actually getting the full time out of the entire Dragonite. Now, does he get picked off by Mora? No, looks like they're going to go ahead back off here, and Sierra's just sniping this tower with those Banelings with that level 1 that he took there with the Volatile Acid. Just sniping the towers here and there, and as well as the minion wave. And we do have 7s currently on the side of Alaska, so it's going to give them a little bit more of control in this game. 6, for better than yesterday, they're just like a hair away, so at this point they've just got to get a couple minion kills. But at the same time, they'll exploit it a little bit on the side of Regen, making sure that they go ahead and get that fort or that tower there. The root does go out onto Nubrek. He already used his burrow, goes ahead, and looks like he will be able to walk off of that. Now we do have a little bit of delay, but realistically, nothing too crazy. They're just going to have to rotate safely between these lanes. Meanwhile, Hedgie's going to go ahead and start to push that up. Really quickly, we're going to go ahead and just check. Looks like he's got enough to steal away this camp. He'll go ahead and do that while they're clearing out that wave. That's going to be a nice steal on the side of Alaska. That's a nice camp to have for your friendly team for better than yesterday, but it looks like a Nubrax can go ahead and burrow on to bubble this. But it looks like he'll be able to get out of there just fine. Again, providing quite a bit of healing for his teammates here. It looks like the jump in will be there. That heavy impact slowing. Remember, quite a bit of damage going out onto the Tyrande. Looks like they will get the kill onto her Shishan Sheep. It looks like he could be the next target, but realistically, he'll just stay under that fort and not take too much damage. Murky, meanwhile, is going to go ahead and pick up this siege camp over here, and that's going to be pushing into the bottom lane as the next Dragonite will be coming up. They will be getting the kill onto Uther in this bottom lane, and it looks like Alaska's starting to really run away with this game. The pacing that they've put forth is just something that I realistically don't think. Is draft music still going? I always have music on in the background. Just like ever so slightly, just to hear a little bit of music. But if it's too blaring, let me know. I honestly cannot hear it right now. It's just kind of every so often. But it's just the in-game music. Either way, it looks like we do have this bottom being held over by Alaska here. We do have Murky going into the mid lane. Henry will go ahead and just start to push back Arc. I believe it's Arc. And Ghost Dunk will kind of be 1v1ing the Zagar or Sierras here, so it's going to be a little bit of a back and forth. The tongue does go out, it doesn't connect. If Sierras can get a pushback here, definitely going to be getting a lot of value. The tongue can go out and bubble this massive fish. double actually sent out from the hammer as well. There will be a burrow. Murky coming to that backline with the march of the Murloc, slowing these numbers down. That is going to be a Murky kill. A huge ring of frost out from Rexpa there. They go ahead and get the kill onto Tyrande. Now Masterfish is in a bad position, going to get a little bit of shielding, and they get another Ice Lance. There will be the burrow out, and the Ice Lance with that shield will not be enough. Currently, you have Kael'thas trying to poke a little bit here, slow them down. Shershan Sheep gonna just distract Bubble this a little bit, but at the same time, they're gonna hold over this top. Murky's already in position. Hedgie's gonna go ahead and pick up the second Dragonite of the game, and he's gonna walk this right back into mid. Look to see that bottom lane definitely going. Ooh, they're gonna potentially go for a kill here onto Shershan Sheep. They do have a no-brak coming in here. The jump in from Bubble this, and they go ahead. Once they get that kill onto Uther, they just back off. They turn around right away. They can't really do this. They do have a little bit of healing from his Ghost Form, but they go ahead and confirm the bottom fort as well as the mid. And at this point, this is what I'm talking about, the pacing that they've set forth on the side of Alaska. This is absolutely just really powerful, and this is it's not an easy spot to be in for better than yesterday. Now, here's the thing though, if they can really start to push back that Murky, that's going to give them a huge break. The other thing that they need to consider here is that they really need to start to prioritize getting that top lane in order, because the moment Dahaka leaves, Sierras is just getting so much value, so Ghost Dunk needs to just get a little bit of help there. There is actually the web wrap from Masterfish on one of the members of Alaska. They do have the Starfall coming up from Shalanda. That is Rexpa finally out of the web wrap there. The E-Storm did go out from Uther. They are starting to turn this around. Another Ring of Frost will go out. Ghost Dunk will dodge it, but it will hit the Uther. Shershan Sheep taking quite a bit of damage. He will be falling there. Phoenix does go out from the Kael'thas. Now, meanwhile, Kael'thas came from top. Was he top? Either way, Sierras is getting free pushback. That's the one thing I just wanted to talk about. At the same time, it looks like Hedgie's going to go ahead and just kind of push up these lanes as well and get quite a bit of value. Now, we do have Sierras currently getting rotated out a little bit, but the team will kind of show their presence beforehand. And realistically, this is kind of the spot where you want to be with Alaska. But the other thing that they need to consider at this point is that they really can't push too far up. Now with Murky, yes, they kind of can, because if they lose the Murky, it's no big deal. They can realistically harass this Kael'thas quite a bit. He's going to go ahead and take half his health down there, but at the same time, he will get a few more stacks for his bribe. He's currently sitting at 3. Going to go ahead and scout this out. Going to try and actually just be a nuisance. Looks like he will dodge the Limit Nubrak going in for the burrow there. Gonna try and just delay them here, as well as just providing some decent vision for his team. Meanwhile, though, in bottom, we're going to have Varen and Rexford working down this hard camp, and then Sierras on the left-hand side of the map is going to go ahead and work on the hard camp over here. So this is going to be quite a good push value that they're going to be getting. Now, there was the bird out from Toronto, did scout it out, but it was a little bit too late. So realistically, they just have to deal with this. Now, shrines are going to be active in about 25 seconds here, so we're really going to need to worry about how these lanes are going to be sitting as this Dragonite comes into play, because if they need to respond on the side of Better Than Yesterday to something that they've been pushing out on the side of Alaska, this is going to be a bad thing. Or if they get the kill, there's a huge sound from them now, fearing the ring cross connects on to 3 of the members of Better Than Yesterday, but Baron's taking quite a bit of damage here. Hedge is going to be falling here in the Murky. The tongue goes out from Ghost Dunk, and they actually get the kill on to the Malfearing here, but they also kill Kael'thas. There will be the Anubrak dying. Now, Shershan Sheep is trying to get a bunch of value on to Rexpa here, but it looks like he will be falling. Ice Block was used by her. He will be dying, though. Now, Bubble This is trying to get a bunch of damage onto Ghost Dunk. The stun's going to go out, but it looks like they're going to disengage at this point. Now, Murky's back. Hedgie came back from his death timer, rotated into top. This top lane's currently pushing up. They can easily just rotate Zagara into this position. Actually, no, they have enough time just to have Hedgie rotate from top to mid. This top camp is going to go ahead, confirm this, and open this top lane up a little bit more. And realistically, this is just, I keep saying it, but Alaska is just playing out of their minds this game. 2-level consistent lead. They've gotten 3 Dragonites in a row. They've had very, very good lane control and just lane posturing. Masterfish diving out of that kick. That was really, really good play by him. But it looks like they're going to go ahead and with these 16s walk the Dragonite down in the bottom lane. Now they do need to wait a little bit, in my opinion, for Rexpa to rotate in on that. the burrow once again. So rotate in on that Jaina. We do have Shurshan Sheik here coming in. Ghost Gun is coming in from that mid lane. It's the other thing we didn't need to consider. Dahaka's now here. They're gonna, looks like they'll wait out the Phoenix. That's going to be good, as well as it gives them time for Jaina to be here. It looks like almost every ultimate is off cooldown. We do have Phoenix. It's still on cooldown, but we do have to kick onto Master Fish. There is a root onto the grass. There is the Starfall. We do have a Ring of Frost connecting onto two of the members. The Web Wrap is out as well. Nubrak falling a little bit low here. He will be the first one to die during this engagement. That is going to be the core falling as well. Bubble this in a bad situation. Will he be able to get out? The healing is out from Baron. He's actually going to jump onto a couple of members. There is the silence is out onto them as well. Sershan Sheik in a bad position. Gonna go ahead and get that D-Storm out, but no follow-up damage, unfortunately. Ghost Gun gonna be proccing the adaptation, but is just gonna be getting burned down at this point. Henry's gonna go ahead and turn around and start getting a bunch of damage out onto him. Dragonite will die, getting him pushed away, but Bubble is gonna go ahead and hop on him, utilizing that heavy impact, getting the stun, and at this point, I wouldn't be too surprised to see Alaska try and end the game here. They're starting to chunk down the score. Phoenix is gonna go out from the kill toss, but 58%, they're starting to really get this down. Bubble is to jump over to keep trying to just engage and stun them out. Looks like Eric is going to take a little bit of damage here, but they are going to be confirming the fort. GG is called out, and that is going to be game number 1 going over to Alaska. All right. Oh my God. What a phenomenal first game. That was just an insane back and forth. And I say back and forth, and you look at the kills, you're like, no, it wasn't. But, like, realistically, like, the lane posturing was really good. The team fighting was amazing. But just overall, the composition from Alaska, just that Murky, devastated. I mean, he just had free reign consistently, and I honestly want to say that there were 2 kills onto him. He didn't even total out at a full kill. So that's just the thing I just wanted to note really quickly. Just want to go through some of these stats, showing off, you know, who topped what chart, so that at least we can just kind of get an idea of where the numbers were coming from, as well as just we'll peek at some of the talents, make sure you guys know what these guys are running. But what an interesting first game. That was insane. I mean, the Murky I was not expecting. But let's go ahead, we'll take that away, and we're gonna get set up for game number 2 here. We are going to be going into just the standard, the classic Cursed Hollow. And I think this map is just a blast to cast as well as to play on. There's far and few between maps that I actually am not a fan of. Braxis is 50-50 with me most because of the fact that it's just like it's really, really fun to cast, but at the same time it can be a pain to be on, because if you're just getting bodied, it just feels like forever, and it's not something you want to deal with realistically. So overall, just an absolutely great first game. But game number 2 here, this is going to be a blast. I'm really, really excited about this. But either way, if you're having fun here and you're enjoying the stream, go ahead and hit that follow button. I appreciate it so much. Really, really do. As well as if you ever want to catch any of the VODs, or you want to find out, when I'm going live, what the plan is for the week, you can go ahead and hit !YouTube or !Twitter in the chat. It will go ahead and give you those links. But yeah, I do a lot of Here's the Storm casting. I've been playing Resident Evil with one of my friends, and the weekend is rolling around, so looks like we might be playing that. If I can convince him, maybe we'll play a couple hours of that. We mostly been doing like a mission per game, but I want to see if I can talk him into like doing like a long sit down. So maybe I'll just have to buy him a little bit of beer. We can have some fun with that. But there's also been talk of doing some Cho'Gall games. So if we can maybe put together a team, we might be popping on this weekend, just do some team league or some quick match, just some games. We'll be streaming and having some fun this weekend. Just waiting on one last member of one of the teams, and let me just go ahead and Deadly Music, thank you so much for the follow.
Give the best hugs.
Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Glad you are enjoying the stream. Glad you stopped by for the games, and tell your friends. It's a lot of amateur Here's the Storm casting over here. It's anything I can really get my hands on, I definitely jump into. Let me just double check here really quickly that we are set up for the right teams. I did have a little oopsie earlier tonight. Alaska picked map, so team 2 will be all right. go ahead and just make sure that the teams are ready, and let me get the little asset set up for the next game. Make sure we're set on. That is not the right score. All right. We do have ready for one of the team. We'll get ready to get going into this here, but just the shade on his own teammate, man. But waiting for the ready from the other team, so we'll get going here in a second. Absolutely, though, but thank you once again to Deadly Music for the follow. Really appreciate it. Let's get going here into our next matchup, and I am just excited to be going into Cursed Hollow. I love it. This map, there's so much you can do here. So much. You can take Cho'Gall. You can take like an all global team. You can take Lost Vikings. You can take Azmodan. You can take. I get really excited because there's a lot of specialists you can take here. There's a lot of push power. But even then, the other thing that we have to consider here is there's also a lot of team fights that are going to be taking place. So you can see some very interesting picks. Thrall, we often see him on this map. Zagara, probably an option. But at the same time, okay, the one thing I'm curious here is, does Better Than Yesterday consider banning out the Zagara and or the Murky? And it's one of those things like, it's like that Murky just devastated that last game, but it's like, do we have to ban it? Like, is that an actual, like, thought that we're gonna have? Now, granted, he would be more in the second phasing of the bans, mostly because of the fact that we're not going to be seeing a Murky into the late game, so definitely they're going to want to prioritize. Oh, thank you so much, St. Basil, for the follow. Really appreciate it. St. Basil 1, should say it correctly. Looks like we're going to have a ban onto the ETC. You're a huge Alaska fan. I am so glad. And just so you know, Deadly Music, if you ever want to catch the VODs, there are a ton on my Twitch page of Alaska, as well as there's actually a ton of them on my YouTube page as well. So if you're ever curious and you want to check out some of those old ones and just see some of my own old casting, you can go ahead and hit that exclamation point YouTube. We'll give you the link for that page there. But no, once again, for a third time realistically, thank you for the follow. I appreciate it. Just every person who follows it, it brightens my day, and it makes me so happy whenever just people do. And I really appreciate that, you know, you guys swing by, you watch these games, you support these amateur teams. But we have a Muradin first pick here on the side of Better Than Yesterday, and it's not a bad idea at all. Jerash first pick with a Rhaegar. Not a bad idea at all. I mean, I say it for both teams, but the one thing, let's just talk about on the side of Alaska. Mostly because of the fact that you're not showing any of your draft. You have displacement, and you have good healing. You could go into a dive comp, you can go into control comp, you can go into some sort of, you know, pick comp. I mean, there's options here, and I really like the setup that they've done on the side of Alaska. Now, realistically, on the side of Better Than Yesterday, I wouldn't expect them to do anything further than the kind of the exact same thing. Maybe pick up a Greymane here and a Stukov. I honestly think it's a safe, strong combination, and, you know, being on the back foot of a game, being down one game, and these are only best of twos, so, you know, winning over this extra point is pretty valuable to have. So, you know, something like that, playing standard, if you will, or at least before we're going into this ban phase, it doesn't show a lot about your draft in it, realistically sets you up for a really good second phase of the draft. Let's go ahead and see what they're going to be picking up here.
I serve.
The Zeratul so early is very worrisome to me. If Tassadar doesn't get banned out, I would wonder if... Get Ripped Gamer, how you doing, bud? Thanks for coming by. I do not know where Superior North is. Superior Cardinal Direction. That's good. I like that. That was really good. But either way, an absolute... I don't know. I have no idea. He's usually popping in my streams. I just catch the Twitch chat afterwards. So very odd that he's not here. Dahaka being hovered here, not a bad idea at all. On such a large map like this, taking him out is a really good option. And exactly that. It's It's a strong ban, and I really think it's a good one. But so, all right, so let's talk about the Zeratul, because I'm still like a little bit flabbergasted, and I needed to collect my thoughts. I was like, let's go to Twitch chat, let's see what they're doing. We'll come back over to this Zeratul. The question I'm wondering is if it's to potentially deter Alaska from any sort of murky pickup. And because Zeratul, I think he does work on this map. I haven't seen him in a while. Now here's the thing. Okay, Tassadar is available. Do you go into the Tassadar for the vision, or do you go into something like a Chromie potentially? You have Time Walker's Pursuit. Because if you then just go into like a hyper carry on like a Greymane or a Vala, ooh, no. Take the Tassadar, take the Illidan, and then take a last pick Abathur. That's your draft regen. I did that last game. Last two games I was casting regen, so they're on the left. That's my apologies. Alaska. That's your last draft, Alaska. But it looks like they go for Greymane Diva. Completely, just absolutely not what I was thinking there. I was wondering which team I was gonna mess up. It was Alaska. Okay. Because like I was like I'll either say misplaced alts or I'll say regen. Like I'm gonna say one or the other, but it looks like that's what's gonna be. Either way, let's get these last two picks on the side of better than yesterday here. And Zeratul, Muradin, Uther. I don't know where you really. They don't have any boss control. I mean, they have Void Prism, but I mean, do you take a Gul'dan and then? I'm just not too sure about this realistically. I don't know how the Zeratul pick is going to work out.
I'm here to help.
To the Horde.
What? What? A Gazlo? Really? And a Zeratul and a Jet? Like, what is this draft? Did I, like, I am very unsure of what I am seeing here. But either way, let's get into game number 2 here with this Gazlo? I'm just still lost by that. I mean, what is this? I mean, I talked quick match comp before, but I mean, what are you put? Okay, so here's the thing that's interesting to me. Shershan Sheep was on Gazlo last game, but, or excuse me, he was on Uther last game, and Ghost Dunk was on the Dahaka. Just Tim Allen noise, like, huh? You guys can rotate. I mean, and they're putting, so Mage from last game, which was the Kael'thas, is now on the tank, and this Tyrande was on, oh my god, what are they doing? But hello. Oh, hey, Superior Noise, welcome. Welcome to everyone in chat. But either way, let's get into this matchup here. On the left-hand side, we are going to have Alaska with Varen on that Rhaegar. Sierras will be on the Diva here. We do have Bubble This on that Garrosh. Rexpa will be on the Greymane, and rounding it out will be Hedgie on that
The battle begins
Thrall.
in 10 seconds.
I don't know why I was going to say Malfurion. That was really weird. Either way, let's go over to the right-hand side of the map.
5,
we are going to have
4,
better than yesterday with
3,
Shershan
2,
Sheep on the
1.
Gazlo. Arc on that
Fight.
Muradin. We have Marad on the Jaina. Masterfish will be on that Zeratul, and Ghost Dunk is going to round it out on that Uther. Alright, so at this point it looks like they're just going to split off to their respective lanes on the side of Alaska here. Meanwhile, in mid, they're going to go posture up for this 5-man. Realistically, it doesn't look like it's going to be having anything happening. Currently do have a little bit of a skirmish here, nothing too crazy. Do have Shershan gonna get the pull onto him, unfortunately. Now we do have a rotation from the Uther here, as well as Masterfish into Hedgie on this bottom lane. Looks like we do have a toss here on Sir Sean Sheep, and it will be the first kill of the game. It's going to be on that Gazlo. Now we do have Arc going to be taking a little bit of damage. The spray's coming out back and forth here. I love it. Just checking into this bottom lane, it looks like we're going to have Hedgie going up against Masterfish here, and let's peek at the top lane once again, because this looks like it's going to be where all of our fun is. This is where it looks like Alaska's going to be trying to push in quite a bit. Now, looking at the mid lane, it looks like they're going to be playing safe here. Zeratul posturing up, trying to get a little bit of damage onto Hedgie here, but able just to kind of heal up with that passive. So, in the top lane, it looks like they're opening up this gate quite a bit. Gals are going to get that stun off. Looks like they'll be able to disengage right off of that, but still just putting so much pressure on the front gate, already opening up at 3 minutes or 1 minute and 40 seconds here. Look to see the Grey Mane probably rotate out of the team in the next 15 seconds, going for that siege camp. Actually, maybe just the Rhaegar, actually. But 4 is being picked up here first on the side of Alaska. Nothing out of the ordinary. Looks like these teams will be playing pretty standard talents. We'll go ahead and just peek at the Frostwolf pack, actually going to be picked up by Hedgie here. Quite a strong talent to have, but it's one of those things that, like, when I played him, man, you got to be good at skill shots, and I'm a little weak, so that's the talent I avoid. We have another toss here onto Sir Sean Sheep. Gonna get body blocked by Bubble this, but taking quite a bit of damage himself from those turrets. Now, it looks like we're gonna have a curse point in bottom, and the one thing I want to note here that I didn't bring up in draft at all, nobody took a global. There is no global aspect on this map. It's all just long rotations that they're going to be needing to take here. So let's go ahead and take a peek at this. So we currently have the... Looks like we have Sierra's going ahead and separating from the team. Masterfish is going to be taking quite a bit of damage here. Looks like he will be falling to Baron. He's going to get a little bit of a bite, but going to get revealed. There it is. Arc going to be taking a little bit of damage, but at this point we do have the point being delayed out by Alaska. Doing the rest of the team currently rotating in. There is a toss onto Ghost Gun in that back row. Rex going to be taking quite a bit of damage himself. Will he be able to get through the gate? And that will be confirmed. We do have the rest of the team on the side of better than yesterday, trying to posture up and delay this. Gaz will be in that top lane though. Sir Sean Sheep going up there, just getting that experience. Because it looks like they're going to be giving this over. There will be the stun from Hedgie there. Sears does have a full bomb. Do they go ahead and try and utilize it? Nope. They're going to go and disengage. Gazlo, though, in that top lane, going to be trying to just respond to the push that was initially started here by the 3-man in this top lane and just get that experience gap closed up. We do currently have, looks like we're going to have Hedgie rotating up into that top lane. They're going to go ahead and dedicate that 3-man that we previously saw into the bottom. Looks like it's actually going to be Varen and Rex picking up this siege camp, and it's actually in top lane. I completely missed this. Gazlo's going to get bodied, and it looks like his little body's going to get thrown over by out of the even arena at this point. So we're going to have the next curse point will be bottom lane. So Hedgie made it all the way up here, as well as Masterfish and Arc, but they're going to have to go ahead and rotate down here. Now Ghost Dunk's going to be up against the Bubble this currently, and this is just a back and forth that I didn't expect to be won over by either, but with the rest of the team currently rotating in, there is Rexma diving in, going to get the kill onto that Uther, and that's a very critical kill to have as we're going into the second curse point, because of the fact that they can realistically just take this over, because without the Uther, they really can't take this. Now, they are trying to poke this out with Arc and Marad here, but it looks like eventually they're going to have to give this over. Sevens will be achieved quite soon here on the side of better than yesterday, so they can even this up. Definitely making sure they push back these lanes, but they will go ahead and pick up that next curse point on the side of Alaska, putting Rexpa into this bottom lane up against Marad, and it looks like we're going to have a little bit of an engage here in the mid lane. Nothing too crazy, no deaths, but definitely this 3-man pushing in this lane is going to be quite beneficial for the team here. We do have Hedgie currently just rotating down into the friendly team. Looks like they're going to be posturing up for a fight here. Rexpa coming in as well. The question is, does he scout out Masterfish? This back and forth between these two has been going on for a little bit here. The Wolf will miss. That's going to reset the stacks here. Varen going to be rotating in at this point. They pull Masterfish over here, and they start to chase him down. The slowing time is there. He gets the blink out, but it looks like he will be making it out of there A-okay. Now, let's go ahead and just get some vision for these teams as they rotate in here. And it looks like we do have a little bit of better than this. He's trying to posture up. They will be the poke from Sir Sean Sheep. Meanwhile, Jaina will be rotating into the lane. We do have Rexpa currently coming up. Arc here. We do have a little bit of they're just making a distance at this point, but it looks like Masterfish is going to get chased down a little bit. You know, they're actually going to get the pull onto Arc. He will get the dwarf toss over the wall. They throw Hedgie over as well. Going to get that wolf sniped out. They have Diva Giant jumping in here as well. If they can body block Ghost Gun, and it looks like they're going to do exactly that. I believe, actually, I'm not sure if they got the mech kill or if Diva just got the kill. Regardless, either way, it looks like Masterfish will get over this gate just fine. Currently going to have Gazla going into this bottom lane, pushing that up as well. Jane is going to be in the mid, pushing this back, but that's 10 achieved for Alaska, and they're starting to work on the keep. What? God, this is some aggressive play. We currently have Jaina in mid, Hearthing. We have Gazla in bottom, still pushing back, but this is going to be the first keep of the game, going for 6 minutes, 30 seconds. And now here's that's Catapult. Oh, he steps out right away with a little bit of a stun just to kind of say, you know what? I'm going to clap back on that. And they're going to go ahead and take boss here. Alaska's going to go ahead and make a real big play at the end of this curse and try and push this boss into the top lane. Are they going to try and end this at like sub 10 minutes at this point? They currently get the boss. It's a 7-minute boss. It's not the most powerful thing on earth, but it's still a boss pushing down a wave, and that's stacked in with a catapults as well. Man, brain parts this late in the evening for me. It's not even that late, realistically. It's just because I'm an old man. But either way, there's going to be a boss walking down the lane. They're going to try and burn this down, but it's going straight to core. So they're going to need to kind of work this down as quickly as possible. No, actually, excuse me, it does have a gate to deal with, so they're going to have that a little bit of delay. But this time I wouldn't be too surprised to see Alaska go ahead and try and pick up this next boss. And it's exactly what they're going to be doing here. They're going to pick up this boss. It's going to be just pushing down the bottom lane. And at this point, I wouldn't be too surprised to see them rotate into mid, or at least this maybe will come out with the next time Curse is going to be coming up. I know that after a Curse phase, it actually kind of randomizes a little bit. There's a gap, but either way, this will buy them a lot of time to kind of set themselves up for the next Curse. So either way, it looks like there is going to be a little bit of some posturing here in the bottom lane, potentially going for a gank. Now, there are 10s achieved on the side of Misplaced. See, I was just doing it right there. Caught myself. Better than yesterday. And it looks like they're going to try and push up with this boss on the side of Alaska. They do currently have a couple members in that back line. There's the taunt as well. They get the kill onto Zeratul, and at this point, they just turn around. They say, no, we don't want this fight. We're not going to take it. So they lose to Zeratul. There was no Divine Shield. No, that's Divine Storm. There was no design. Actually, it's interesting that they didn't take Divine Shield here. Like, I just think the safety of it is just really, really powerful, especially with the few members that they have that can dive in there. It's just having that 4 and the clean disengage, you know, throw someone that gets taunted, it kind of works. It just gets them out. So either way, that's a side note. We actually have a pause here really quick. Let's go ahead and just transition the screen really quickly, make sure that no one gets a little bit of an advantage. But let's just take a break. Apparently, someone's cat is on fire. Actually, it's a good pause because it looks like Alaska has someone, their cat is on fire as well. Just people already just, I want to hear the story. PETA, just these teams. So we'll go ahead and we'll just look at just some of these talents as we're getting to this later half of the game. Just sometimes, you know, that's that response. And so here's something that I haven't noticed for 3 levels. Bloodlust with Earthquake. This has been something that was done, oh gosh, when Earthquake got reworked. So what was that, like 2 years ago? The chat shade is just so good. Oh, you guys absolutely kill me. But while we're here, let me go ahead and just say thank you so much to everyone who's in Twitch chat hanging out. Is Tim Allen casting? Oh, is my Tim Allen impression good? Once your face went away, I couldn't tell if you swapped out. I've been working on my Tim Allen impression, I guess. It's been practiced. Either way, thank you so much for everyone who came by. But it looks like we're gonna be getting back into this. Okay. Let me just go ahead and get that all set up. All right, let's see. We're gonna be doing the countdown here. Alright, let's go ahead and unpause. We'll get right back into this, and here we go. So this boss is currently pushing down bottom lane. We have 2 catapults stacking up into the top. The longer they delay this, this just means that catapults will be sitting on the core doing a significant amount of damage. Looks like Bubble Disc will be falling at this point in the engagement, so they're going to go ahead and back off here, but they want to go in for the kills. They go ahead and Sierra will go ahead and... Ooh, that's a good Void Prism. Dazzle Bomb right underneath. They doesn't time out well. They do get the stun onto Sierra, so it looks like Hedgie will be taking a little bit of damage. Lens is used from Rhaegar. Rexford coming around the corner here. The Thrall is going to utilize the Earthquake, gonna get some stacking off of it. P-Shield is used, or excuse me, Divine Storm is used, getting a couple people there. The Ring of Frost is really well placed as well, and they get the kill onto Rhaegar. Q is, excuse me, the Big Shot is used, and they get the kill onto the, onto Muradin. And Self-Destruct is used, they zone away with it, and they're just delaying this out because we have bubbled this back up. Yeah, they're just delaying out, and here's the thing. The longer this takes place, we have 3 catapults on core at this point. 4 is about to be here. These things are going to do a ton of damage. We have Jaina back. We have the entire team back, and this is a 25%, 30-odd% off the core. 33% off the core is quite a... It's just, it's demoralizing. It's one of those things that, like, you see your core and it's just like, we're 10 minutes into the game and we've taken, near 50% damage to this. So the momentum that has been on the side of Alaska is really, really powerful this game, just as we talked about in the last. Now, granted, that last team fight really went over handily, too, better than yesterday. They had a really, really good play there, so absolutely phenomenal turnaround on that point. Now the question is, can they kind of keep that that power in their favor? I mean, it is 15-13, granted, but the other thing we still need to consider is that it is still same talent tier. There is a level difference. They're trying to think just to get close to 15, but they're not able to position here quickly enough, and I honestly think they're going to have to just give this over. We're going to have Arcdive in here. We do have Masterfish with the Void Prism onto one of his own members, but Greymane going to be getting that as well here. Going to be diving onto one of the members. Sierra's going to be taking a little bit of damage. Ring Cross Seagull punches you onto Bubble Disc, but it looks like he will be taking quite a bit of damage. He will be dying to that Divine Storm. We do actually have the Rhaegar falling as well. Rex going to be diving after Masterfish. Looks like we do have Hedgie and Rex working on Arc here. Sierra's going to be losing the mech. Going to be having to dive out. We do have Thrall currently dying. He will be losing the stacks as well. Looks like they're going to be losing this over. Rexford going to be getting 2 kills there, but going to be getting killed in the end by the Muradin, just a little bit low there. Looks like they will be able to get the delay with Sierra's here. And this is once again, so if they can delay this out, so they get the mecha explosion, it will zone them away, we'll clear out most of his, we'll clear out all of those. Muradin gonna jump in, gonna get the Haymaker, knocking them away. 16s are achieved on the side of Alaska, but here's the thing. We have just this huge core, and once again, they're taking damage. This mid lane, it is going to be pushed in by the camp picked up, and just this entire time, Sierra's has just been a nuisance, stopping them from even getting this. We currently have Bubble Disc coming back into lane. We have Variant coming back as well. So Sir Sean Sheep and Arc are going to have to back off, and what was considered to be a potential give, looks like it's just going to be stolen back over by Alaska. They go ahead and pick that up. It's going to be 1-1 on the curse points. And this entire time when they've been having these catapults in top lane, since the early game, since that like sub 10-minute mark, has just been such an absolute nightmare for them to deal with on the side of better than yesterday. But Alaska having a little bit of problem themselves, having to clear out the siege camp in bottom. Doesn't look like they should be able to save this. Yeah, they'll actually save this over. Looks like we do have Hedgie kind of posturing up in this bush as they make these rotations here, kind of showing a little bit themselves. Bubble This showing in the bottom lane is going to pull a few of the members. Actually, it's pulling the majority of the team here. It looks like they definitely want to fight. If they can potentially pull Bubble This away from the team. But it looks like they will get the Haymaker separating from there. He will just rotate out, and they call for retreat. Masterfish trying to come in here. He does have the Void Prism. He can use it again. Do they try and get a Gravel Bomb combination? He goes in. It's going to be a double. They get the Gravel Bomb out. That is going to be Diva trying to knock them out. There is the Ring of Frost. That is going to be losing the Jaina here. They're going to be losing the Garrosh. But the 1-for-1 Zeratul going to be falling here as well. We do have Rexford currently going on to Sir Sean Sheep. He will be falling to him. I assume the B-Step's coming back and forth. Rexford just throwing out oh my god, this back and forth. Just taking his time to kill him. Going to go ahead and get that kill. Looks like we will have my cats. The initial pause, all I saw, there was no message, there was nothing said, and I was about to ask the team, like, hey, what's the reason for the pause? And it just says, my cat's on fire. And like, that's all they left. Like, that was all we got for the pause. Like, that was the only explanation, any description, and so so it looks like they'll go ahead and pick up this boss in the bottom lane while the members are coming back. I'm sorry. Ooh. Oh, the shade just being thrown out midstream. How you doing? But this will be a boss being picked up. It looks like Zeratul will kind of scout out that area, seeing if they were posturing up for that. But now that they have this bottom lane, the question is, do they go into the top and they get that 15-minute, 16-minute boss? These teams. You guys absolutely kill me. Thank you so much. All right, but at this point, it looks like we do have a few of the members of Alaska posturing up for this boss, and it looks like they're going to be giving this over. Now, this is really risky on the side of... It's better than yesterday. This is a little bit risky. They do get the pull, and they separate the Luther. The Divine Storm does go out. It looks like Ghost Dunk will be falling here. So it's going to be Curse Point coming up on the bottom left-hand part of the screen. The toss goes out onto Sierra. Looks like they will be trying to separate another member. Look to the top will go out onto Arc here. Will he be able to utilize the Haymaker? It is up in a couple seconds here. But there's the backline Zeratul. He does get a 3-man Void Prism. There is the toss onto one of the members here. The Void Prism doesn't end. They get the root onto a couple of members to pull in from the Rapid Bomb. They will have Magic Fish dying here. Looks like the Haymaker did go on the bubble. It's actually kind of saving him there. Gazlo will be falling as well. Bloodlust is used. Thrall utilizing the Earthquake. They get the Ice Block from Jaina. The Arc is going to be dying. Murden's going to be dying. Jaina's going to be dying. The laughs are out. The GGs are out. And it looks like this is going to be game number 2 going over to Alaska. They will take 3 points. And they will end out the season in the number 1 spot. GG, well played.